So this arc, despite being only chapter 28 to 34, is kind of long. There's a lot of words in the fall of Hypteria's arc. Let's get on it, you know? There's a lot of exciting things, a lot of things I decided I wasn't going to skim over. Let's go. Okay. Here we are. We're going to start it off with Terra. So Terra, Marana, and Karna have returned with Hesper. They've brought him home. And Jiro praises them, and Hesper gets taken away to Venus's room. Venus's new partner, Hesper, new train user. Obviously, she needs to kind of fix him. Last we saw Hesper, kind of didn't want to be a part of the demon brand. It was pretty, the whole, that's good for you guys are good for the country, but I don't want to help. It's not my calling, you know? I want to do something else in my life. I do not want to be part of the demon brand. Circumstances made it so he had to come home with them. Venus is going to get to work on him. Okay. Terra waits for something from Jiro. Jiro asks her to wait. And while she waits, and Akane sits down across from her. And Jiro then, they sit in silence, and Jiro shows her a wish card 1. He shows it the wish card 1, which is how she's turned into Clark. And Jiro says, hey, do you want to know where you came from? Would you like to know how wish card 1 works? She says yes. Toshi opens a void for them, and they go to a small town out in Desolate. In this town, they see clown-like creatures that look like Piacio snatching up the women, children, and men of this town and disappearing into some kind of slot machine-like void. Similar to how Toshi's voids work, but different. And Terra's pretty freaked out. She's like, what the heck is this? He's like, yeah, Piacio comes to Akazushimian, comes to the small towns with a certain small amount with a population small enough, and just starts snatching up people. And Lord Jiro makes a point of saying, hey, he doesn't have to do this. It is within Piacio's abilities that he should be able to create humans. But there's something in the wish card 1, in the description of how the wisher, whoever made this wish, wanted this wish to be done, that said, I want Akazushimian women, children, and men to be kidnapped for this card and brainwashed. And Terra is really freaked out by that. And Terra runs into the town, and it's kind of dangerous because the clowns could scoop her up at any time, and she finds an injured child who's missing an arm and a leg, bleeding out. The clowns are not gentle, they're kind of rough when they do this. Okay. Terra gets on her knees, she begs. She says, please, Jiro, can you save these people? I do not want to see this. Please just save these people. She's taken a custom to this boy, we'll get to this boy in a minute, but she likes this child, and she wants these people to be saved. And she doesn't understand the repercussions of what it means to ask Jiro to save them. So Kane gives her a blindfold, says you have to wear a blindfold if Jiro's going to use his demon bread. We're not allowed to see it. There are repercussions to seeing. There's something that happens if you see Jiro's ability. So you're not allowed to see it. So she puts a blindfold on and begins to hear hundreds of footsteps. It sounds like there are about 100 people running around, and she begins to hear this high-pitched scream coming from the clown people. When she removes her blindfold, there are nothing there but dead Piacio hunters. So whatever happened is gone. Okay, they're about to leave. Jiro scoops up the child. He takes him through the void, and before Terra can go through the void, Kane stops her and says, look, welcome to the Demon Brand. I hope you can forgive me for saying this. Like, I know you're about to be part of us, but I believe that you don't have a lot of choices on whose Demon Brand you're going to steal. So would you please not kill Ricky? Could you kill us? And Terra's freaked out, and she explains that, like, look, there's not a lot of people that you have to pick from. Essentially, your choices are Venus, Saruki, the Akanes, and Ricky, and the new kid Hesper. And she makes a good point. You know, Venus, Hesper, they're children. Saruki, kind of messed up, kind of little girl, still a child. So that leaves Ricky and Akane, and she is volunteering that she'd like Terra to take her place. If you have to kill one of us, please kill us. She's like, are all the Akanes agreed on this? All the Akanes have voted, they're in. They would like to die in exchange for saving Ricky. They don't want Ricky to die. And that sucks. Terra doesn't really want to kill anyone. So it's a lot for Terra to think about. Over here, Kaido is currently engaged in battle with Lucas's corpse. Lucas's corpse is half spider and it is attacking people. Last we saw it, it was over Mavis, it's attacking Mavis. he's attacking and he's losing. And Anna has to step in and she actually kills her brother. She kills the spider monster that's become her brother. And she says to Kaido, Kaido, do you know why you lost? It's because you're weak. You don't have the heart to kill, and you lack any training, and you think just because you've got a cool wish card, that means you're always going to win. You need proper training, and you need to know your weapons inside out. You act like a child, and you need to grow up, because people are dying, and it's because of your actions. And that messes Kaido up. And then Anna says, actually, I don't even see the point in continuing on with this journey with you guys if you aren't going to learn to train. So, Kaido's pretty upset about that. Anna's like, look, right now we're searching for Clara. Clara, you saw her. You saw Clara. She didn't want to go with us. Obviously, she doesn't want to go with us. Kaido doesn't want to admit that maybe all their friendship is a lie. Anna then says, you know what? You act like Clara is innocent in this, but she stood by when Lucas was killed. She is just responsible for Lucas's death, and you need to come to understand that. Like, this is it. And then she says, you know what, even Clara said she's going to be part of the Demon Brand. Obviously that means, are you ready to kill Clara? If you are so fixated on killing the Demon Brand, you've got to be ready to kill Clara. Kaido doesn't know about that. And so she says she has a proposition. She says, look, right now, Anna, Red Alice, they're going to go their separate ways from Kaido and Mavis. And they're going to meet back here in this exact town in 1 year after both of them train. Anna and Red Alice are going to look for the Demon Brand home. Kaido and Mavis are going to do some training. She wants Kaido to master Bonebreaker, and if he does, when they return in a year and he can prove it to her, then she will continue on this mission with him. He says yes, they part ways. So Anna and Mavis leave one way, Anna and Red Alice leave one way, Kaido and Mavis walk into the woods of Akazushimae. They're in the woods of Akazushimae because they are on the border, so they're walking around this area into the wooded area towards Renois. That'll come up later. Mavis makes a point of pointing out she feels super safe around Kaido. She's kind of being flirty with Kaido. She's still continuing to do this thing, just like when she hugged Kaido and upset Terra. Mavis is kind of flirty. She has feelings for Kaido, much like Clara felt for Kaido when she was under the spell of Wish Card 1. But Mavis acts on these feelings, and Clara never did. She kept it a secret. Okay, where are we next? Okay, we're going back to the Demon Brand home. We're jumping to Karna. Last we saw Karna, she'd been stabbed by Kaido. Kaido landed a hit on her. And because of that, Karna's lying in bed, recovering, and she starts to think about how Kaido landed a hit on her. And she's worried she's growing weak. So we start to get into Karna's memories. Karna starts to think back. She was only 14 when she joined the Demon Brand. It was during the Jewel War, of course. A lot of people joined in the Jewel War. Yeah, the Jewel War just started. She was fighting a war at 14 that she didn't even know the reason for. She didn't know when she joined. And the other days of the battle, she loses a lot of fights. And a lot of she's so going to beat her. She's working her way up. She manages to escape, only losing a lot of her pride. And at some point will lose an eye. When she turned 15, she's granted her Demon Brand. This is where she goes from just being part of the war to being, part of the Demon Brand. So now she has one. She meets Jiro, and he is this handsome prince who's the son of the leader of the Akazushimae warriors. He's the king. This is the prince. She falls in love with him. Jiro has a sweet tongue. He talks about the way he wants to free the people, and he wants to give them freedom, and it wins Karna's heart. Karna is in love with him. This is amazing. She loves him. Okay. During this war, she sees a lot of people die, sees a lot of members leave. Cordelica and Toshi and her are all that are left of the original people from when this war first started, minus Jiro. So they're the only 3 who fought in this war and survived of the Demon Brand. And they all 3 of them have their own war trauma. But then she, in the point, as groups rejoined, Toshi gained Akane and Riki, and then Murano would come along, and then Saraki would come for Cordelica, leaving Karna the only one still alone to deal with her own trauma from the war. In this trauma, and being all alone, she begins to cling to Lord Jiro. She turns 19, and she really wants to be a bride. She starts having all these womanly emotions, and she would like to marry Lord Jiro. And so, she decides it is time. She confines in her feelings to Jiro all the time. It's time to tell him how she feels. She's ready to confess her feelings. And he says to her, and I have it on my screen just because this is a great quote, he says, because she tells him Jiro says, "You're a fine soldier, Karna, and a better member of the Demon Brand. why I believe your power rivals even Cordelica. And he says he values her strength and that she's an important part to the demon brand, and it would be a waste of your potential to have you marry me, nay, any man. There are times you can think of, you feel these feelings, but just put them down. Right now, we're in the middle of a great war. The war has just ended, but this war ending is only temporary. There will be a time when we need your strength again. So you need to continue being the user of paper swords, and you need to be a feared member of the demon brand. Forget about the ideas of love and marriage. They will never come into fruition, which is a really insane thing to tell a 19-year-old girl who just told you she wants to get married. So her heart is broken. She has never been turned down before. She was literally not only told that he won't marry her, but he doesn't want other people touching her. And that really upsets her to think that all she is to him is a powerful warrior. So she decides, yeah, she's going to listen to him. She loves him. He's always giving her good advice. She pours herself into her fighting, begins to live more like a man. From that day forward, that is when Karna begins dressing more like a guy. She doesn't want to look like a girl because that's what Lord Jiro told her. He said, be a soldier, don't be a woman. And that really sucks. Another example of Jiro, he's kind of insensitive. We've talked about the way he treats Saruki. Here's an example he treats Karna. He's kind of weird. Let's not forget, he also put all this strain on Tara. Tara has to decide who she's going to replace in the demon brand. That's not a normal thing to do. She could have just hung out with them. It's weird that he's making them all against each other. Jiro's kind of a weird dude. His whole family line is kind of weird. We don't really get into actually a lot of his upbringing, but Jiro and his father are both kind of weird. A lot of strain being part of this war, and Jiro's weirdness continues to continue recruiting weird people, making weird relationships, and making weird things happen to people. Anyway, back to this. Karna is introduced to Murana. Murana joins the demon brand. He becomes like a younger brother to Karna. Karna loves it. For her 20th birthday, Murana gives her a fairy. Like a fairy, which is made of a person, like a monster. It's a monster he made, but it looks like a fairy. And this is the first gift Karna has ever received from someone that feels like it was made with love. He worked hard to give her a fairy, to give her something of innocence, something that really makes Karna feel good. It reminds Karna that, you know what, even in these darkest times, Murana can use a power that was used for war to make something beautiful. This reinvigorates her to start having kind of thoughts that, like, maybe I can be more than a warrior. Because if Murana can use such an evil power for good things, maybe my powers can be for good things too. Maybe I'm not just a warrior. While lying in bed, now back to the present day, she hears a knock at the door, and it is Kane number 5, another one of her closest friends. I've put these two on the board because of Kane number 5, Kane number 6, they get their own tab because they become slowly, throughout this arc, their own characters. They're separate than the other Akanes. Akanes, we'll still be talking just Akanes here, but then Akane 5 and 6 are their own characters. I didn't want to make one for 4 and 7 because 4 and 7 are only really their own characters when it comes to their own little chapters, which are scattered around, and they don't show up till a lot later. So 4 and 7 will get probably a singular card on the board when they're important. But right now, 4 and 7 are just, friends. They're just the two Akanes that hang out with each other. They need their own. But 5 and 6 really do become their own characters, so they get their own sticker. Anyway, it's 5 at the door. And the Akanes all study under, like I've said, a leader of the team responsible for the education. So Riki and Akane both study under Toshi. Karna Murana stands under Karna, but despite that, Akane number 5 studies under Karna. She chooses that she likes Karna a lot. Karna says she doesn't know why, but for some reason, Akane number 5 sees her like a mentor, often comes seeking advice. Even to the point that Karna has noticed that Akane 5 wears an eye patch now. She wears an eye patch to copy Karna's eye patch because Akane is missing an eye. Sorry, because Karna is missing an eye. Anyway, Akane 5 comes to her in the middle of the night and says, look, we're all about to die. And Karna's like, what do you mean? And Akane 5 explains the whole, we made a vote and we decided to save Ricky's life, we're gonna let Tara take our demon brand. And she expresses that she does not want to die. The other Akanes that voted, she was outvoted. Akane number 5 was on the side that voted they don't die. And Akane 5 says she wants to spend more time with Karna. And she doesn't want to see people die. And Karna says, don't worry, I will take care of it. I will do something. Leave everything to me. She tries to hobble out of bed. Her leg's still broken. Murana appears and says, look, if you ever need, don't be an idiot. Don't hurt your leg again. Don't sprain it. If you need help, I'm here for you. You can always lean on me. Karna says she appreciates that, you little dork, but this is something I need to do alone. I have to go see Jiro. So Mirana gives in and lets her leave. She goes to Jiro. She says, Lord Jiro, I've come to ask you a favor. Would you allow Terra to take my demon brand? She's making the ultimate sacrifice. She cares for 5, and she wants to sacrifice herself. That is the end of one chapter. Now we jump back to Anna and Red Alice. It has been 9 months since they left Kaido, splitting for a year. So they have 3 months left until they're going to reunite with Kaido after the training. They're in the streets of a new town. They've continued to work to try to find leads on the Demon Brand home. They've not found anything. On this day, they're drawn to a casino. They hear the sounds of a casino, and they decide to check it out. They're in one of the capitals, Aksushimiya, probably around here on the topper section, but farther away from Hypteria. They started here, they're here. They've made their way across it. They're drawn in, and they notice the theme. A lot of the machines used are they're members of the Demon Brand. The Demon Brand are used like characters in this casino. All kinds of these games and gambling machines all have characters on them and little description. They laugh at how silly it is that in Hypteria, the knights are so hush-hush about the secrets of the Demon Brand, when in Aksushimiya, they're just celebrities. They're just celebrities, their powers are pretty well known. Anna makes a note that the Demon Brand seem a lot friendlier when you look at them through all this media. It's like propaganda to her eyes. All the machines have like the Demon Brand in different outfits, like they've done photo shoots. They're literally celebrities to the Aksushimiyans. In fact, Anna is taken in by a picture of Saruki, the little shark girl, who has stomach storage. In fact, as she's admiring a picture, a drunk wanders over and says that this little girl is the best, she freaking rocks, and she defends our country, freaking the world loves her. Who doesn't like an all Aksushimiyan hero? Not only is she a hero, she's a little girl, and she freaking rocks, and she's the country's daughter from his drunk eyes. Then, Anna discovers a VR fighting game where you fight as Demon Brand members, and she becomes addicted to this game. This is a lot of what Alice and Anna's character story will do as they're off, is literally just playing this VR game and getting addicted and going pro. Freaking loves this game. She mains Saruki, of course, because she thinks Saruki's cute. Back to Hypteria. We start to get into we're getting closer to new characters. Hypteria. We're in the royal palace. The palace. This is where the royals live, but also where the knights live. Genta and Trafo. To the members of the Divine. Two fourths. They're in the palace waiting for an audience with the Queen. Once a year, they're called to see the Queen for the anniversary of Nermosa's birthday. It is the birthday of Nermosa, Trafa's little sister. She was taken, if you remember. They make a point of saying this would have been her 18th birthday. She's about to turn 18, so it would have been a special one. She would have been promoted to something called the Senior Divine Knight, like Genta and Trafa. She would have just been turning into a Senior Knight like all of them. Nermosa was the only one who wasn't a Senior Divine Knight, because she was under 18. All the others are over 18. It's stated they're all over 18. They enter, and they are greeted by not only the Queen, but also someone called the God Hand. The Holy God Hand, head of the Holy Church of Piacio. And we will now introduce, let's see, we have, let's put them right here. Queen Foss is the Queen of Hypteria. She is the current queen. Her parents died mysteriously, and so they died during the war. It isn't said how. And then, luckily, being young, under 18, she has her advisor, the God Hand William. He is the head of the church. He got the title God Hand. That comes up later why he gets a title, unlike so many other characters who just have their names. Genta, Trafa, Nermosa, Cecina, none of them have titles. But William has a title because he's the head of the church and he's called the God Hand, the Hand of God. Okay, Queen Foss, like I said, young girl. She was born near the beginning of the Jewel War, and she was 6 when it ended. With her parents dead, basically William runs this country, but he just advises Queen and Foss what to do. We all know William is really running this country. Foss is just a figurehead at this point until she's 18. Besides remembering Nermosa for her birthday, there's another reason. They are here, they decide, Foss and William, it's Foss's idea, obviously it's William's idea, it's time to strike Aksushimiya. They've decided that it's time to fight them. The war has been at peace for a bit, and Foss shares her idea. This is the plan. We're going to strike the nation's children. Trap is like, huh? Children? What? And looks at Genta to see if Genta reacts to that. Genta does not react to that. He has no issue with that. No issue with the fact that they're going to attack children in Akazusha helpless children. Foss continues saying she wants to round up all the children and remove them. If there are no children, there are no people who can take the demon brand. They then share a piece of lore about the demon brand. They say the demon brands, the cards themselves, cannot go to someone, does not go to someone over 18. The characters can become over 18, but when the demon brand came to them, they were under 18. They believe this must be a rule. They have no proof of that, but they do make a point of saying, look, none of the demon brand were over 18 when they got the demon brand. Maybe that means if we take out all the children, no one will be able to get the demon brand. It is a crazy theory, but they do say first, not just rounding them up, but yeah, kill them. Foss wants to kill the children. Maybe when there's not a lot of children, they can round them up and make them into servants of Heptaria. That's freaking crazy, but she's the queen. Trapper doesn't like it, like I said, looks to Genta. Genta doesn't have a problem. Genta actually says that all Kazushimians are sinners. And actually during the war, they did a similar thing, except they took all of the men of Akazusha and they enslaved them. And that didn't work, because the children rose up with the demon brands and fought back. So that didn't turn out great. So maybe this time, killing all the children, that's the right solution. Trappa is conflicted, but he remembers, you know what, he's a holy knight. This is just part of being a holy knight, is protecting the country. So that means he has to do this. He's going to kill children. He's going to, you know, go against his beliefs and kill children. Back at the demon brand home. We're at the demon brand home. A meeting has been called with Jiro. Jiro calls a meeting. He calls everyone. He says everyone has to attend. Everyone arrives in a big ballroom. And in this ballroom is where a huge meeting is happening. Including Cordelica and Sarku. Cordelica and Sarku, two don't usually show up to these kind of meetings. They're here. They're going to be here at this meeting. Jiro says, look, point of this meeting, we're going to talk about whose demon brand, right here and now. We're going to decide whose demon brand Terra's taking. Terra freaks out. She's like, I thought I had a year. It's only been 9 months. This isn't the deal. But he continues. Whose spot you going to take? Tonight's meeting. That's what this is about. Karna is said, look, Karna has nominated herself. She might be the one to replace. Miranda doesn't like that. But also, Akane has nominated herself to take Terra's place, to have Terra take her place. He says, Toshi, you got a good teammate. That's really good. Venus begins to worry for Hesper's, her new best friend's safety. Hesper says, don't worry. It seems like this is a fight between Karna and Akane. Why would you ever choose me or you when they're volunteers? Suddenly, Lord Gio switches the subject. He's like, look, let's move on to another subject. Where are we? The people are like, we're in the home. All the members are like, we're in the home of the demon brand. The demon brand home. They go, why? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? They can't say where. They say it's somewhere here. Somewhere in Akazushimiya is where their home is. But Jiro points out, the only way we get here is through Toshi's void. A lot of you are too young to remember. And he says Cordelica and Toshi and maybe Karna are the only ones who would remember when we used to live in the Akazushimiyan palace before there was an attack on that palace. After that attack on the palace, everyone began to live in the demon brand home, which is hidden somewhere. And he says, we'll go back to that. And then he says he'd like to introduce you to someone. Who's he going to introduce you to? Who are we going to meet? He says, look, actually, there are 10 demon brands, but there's an 11th demon brand member. And everyone's like, huh? There's been a secret member this whole time? And I didn't know? And he's like, yeah, I kept it a secret from all of you. And a woman in her 20s appears. She has black hair and a veil on. She wore a black formal dress with a necklace of Piacio on it. Lord Gio claps his hands, and let's give a warm welcome to the most guarded secret of the demon brand, the secret to how we're going to win this upcoming war. And her name is Sasina. That's right. Tear off this side, not tear off Sasina. People freak out. Sasina is in one of the 4 divine. He says, yes, it is I, Sasina, of the 4 divine, protector of Heptaria. Oh wait, that's not right. Tee. Toshi asked if Cordelica knew about this. Toshi looks to him. Immediately says, Cordelica, did you know about this? Cordelica says, yeah, he did. But why did he spoil it? Now, she says, before I get into why I did it, let me explain my divine. My divine, Sasina's divine, is known as the Divine Palace. Divine Palace is an ability to create a dimensional palace in which She can house people. Where are they right now? They're inside the Divine Palace. Their whole home has been it. It's the perfect base for hiding, because since it is literally everywhere at once, there is no way to invade this palace. It is the perfect hiding spot. You cannot attack people from inside the palace, but no one can get to you while inside the palace. She has complete control over the palace. She can shift the rooms. She can move things. She makes note that she can hear everything that happens in the palace. That freaks some of the people out. They were like, why did you betray Heptaria? During the Jewel War, it became clear that after the initial palace was destroyed, they needed a place to hide. And during that time, Jiro met Sasina. They go, well, why would you betray everyone? Sasina says, what she says is that during the war, she was fortunate enough to be there when the first strike, when the old king died, Jiro's father. She was there when Jiro's father died. She says she got to see his demon brand. Her and Jiro together are the only surviving people who saw what that demon brand did. And she says, oh, it was such an amazing ability. She then says, oh, it's a shame that none of you have seen it, because if you saw it, you would understand that this is what divine power looks like. That the holder of whatever this demon brand is, the demon brand power, is proof that that person must be the chosen savior by Piacio. There is no way a demon could make the power of this demon brand, because this is a holy demon brand. So therefore, the good side must be whoever holds this. And it was so overwhelming that she thinks that she is on the right side now. Sasina then says, let's continue with Jiro's side of the news. Says, Sasina has brought the news. The reason for the reveal today is because Sasina brings news of the palace. Godhand and Foss are planning an invasion, and Sasina has leaked this information. They're going to attack before they can be attacked. The plan, basically, we're just going to have Sasina open the gates to her palace, and it's going to open to the door of their palace. And they're just going to fling in. Surprise attack. They'll never see it coming. They're going to bring some of Mirana's monsters, but besides that, it's just Demon Brand v. the entire palace. He basically says, yeah, no guards, no foot soldiers from Akazushimiya. Akazushimiyan troops are just not there yet. The Holy Knights of Heptaria are ready to fight. Akazushimiyan's troops are not. Luckily, they've got the Demon Brand. It's an 11v the entire nation of Heptaria's castle. So we'll see what happens. He then says, look, here is the answer to the final question. Whose Demon Brand is Terra taking? This is the final reveal. We've revealed Sasina, we revealed why this meeting is happening, and why the reveal is because we're going to attack Heptaria's holy castle. But whose Demon Brand is Terra taking? Some might have seen it coming. Jiro announces it's his Demon Brand she'll be taking. Everyone goes, what? After all of this, Sasina is saying it's a holy ability, that's important. Why would Lord Jiro let himself die? He explains that to use this Demon Brand, like his father, it will kill him. To use this Demon Brand's full power, not a little bit of its power, but all of its power, it requires the life force of its user. And so, after he dies, he wants Terra to take it, and explains that his Demon Brand, unlike all other Demon Brands, does not disintegrate and find its new home. It is passed down. So Jiro gets to decide who gets it, and he's decided Terra gets it. And everyone's pretty upset that he made a whole big deal of it, but there you go. Terra doesn't like it. Doesn't see why it's her. He says it's his reasoning for giving Terra the ability. He just says, look, you are someone who has seen Heptaria firsthand as a slave. You have now seen Akazushimiyans. You have a duty because you have a son here, Akazushimiyan. We'll get to the child that Terra found during Hunters. We'll get to him later, but his name and more about him. But Terra has a child here. You are forced to stay here. And if I give you this ability, you'll lead my people with knowledge of both worlds. I think you're a good person. Also, it would be funny. Just another example of Jiro's messed up sense of humor. He thinks it's funny. He then mentions that it did cost him a year of his life to save that child. So Terra owes him. Terra feels pretty bad about that. She didn't realize that when she made him use his ability for something just like saving a child and a couple people, it cost Jiro a year of his life. Then Jiro reveals he pulls off the back of his shirt and shows them a cool mark. It is the mark of a black silhouette of a girl praying. And Sasina pulls down her dress to show that she also is one, and says that this is the mark of the parade, and means that you are someone who witnessed the parade, which is Lord Jiro's demon brand. We will get into what this card does, but it is called the Holy Family Parade, or just the Parade. And Jiro's card imprints a mark to prove you were there for this holy event. He then explains that he was not joking, and not metaphorically, when he said we'd all be united in death, because this is part of his demon brand. He then explains how his demon brand works. The Holy Family Parade is a parade of cloud-like creatures, of humanoid creatures. They're made of clouds, but they form the bodies of every single previous demon brand user, as well as those who lived inside the palace. Just cloud guards. They're not actually the guards, but they're cloud guards, and then actually like recreations of all the demon brands who've ever existed, and they're able to use their demon brands. It is an insane ability. He lets them know he plans to just wipe Heptaria out all at once. His father failed. His father used the ability incorrectly and just used it to wipe out and pause the war. That is what ended the war last time. The Jewel War came to an end after his father used the ability and wiped out an entire army, Heptaria's army, but it also wiped out Axushimian's army at the time. It wiped everyone out. This time, that battle happened on their border. This time they're going to go right to the heart, they're going to go to the capital, and they're going to unleash the parade upon the castle, hopefully killing William and Foss and a lot of the Heptarians, and they hope to just let the rampage continue. There's also something about Jiro makes a compelling argument that the reason his father's parade was weaker than what his parade will be. His parade will be stronger because Jiro is younger. Jiro is still in his 20s. He has about, he assumes, 75 years at least in his lifespan left. So he's going to give all 75 years. His father was in his 50s when he died, so he only had, give or take, 40-some years. So he's hoping this will almost double the power of his parade. Okay. Terra comes to accept her new fate. She says, you know what? If you trust me with this ability, this is my newfound family, I will do this for you. It would be an honor to take on your ability. The meeting is called to an end. Small little things. Venus and Hesper approach Hasina and ask for a double bunk bed for their bedroom. There's no furniture in the Demon Brand home that they brought in. Everything was just there, so the bedrooms are kind of just set how they're made. So Hasina says, no problem. When you get to your room, there'll be a double bunk bed, and in fact, there'll be like a ball pit too. So a little thing, just being nice. Morana goes down to the basement and looks at his little monsters and feels bad. He doesn't want to lose them. He has an emotional attachment to the creatures he creates. He doesn't want to use them as weapons, but if Lord Jiro says he has to, he has to. Okay, as he walks back to his room to go back to Garden to talk, he passes by where Nermosa is kept, and he thinks about that for a second, realizing if they're inside Sasina's ability, then that must mean this entire time Sasina could have saved Nermosa. There was a divine inside a divine. This entire time, all these divines have been right next to the person keeping the final divine captive. That's kind of crazy. That really means that Nermosa is a captive to Sasina. She really, truly has betrayed her people. Morana has zero doubt in Sasina's intent. There's no way she's a spy. There's no double crossing, because this entire time she's kept Nermosa. That is enough to convince Morana. Because who would rob a girl of most of her life? Okay, everyone else leaves their rooms. Sasina and Lord Jiro stay on that stage, and they sit, and Sasina says, I can hear the beating of the drums. Jiro, the parade is coming. The drums, part of the parade. It is the sound. The parade is said to have a sound. It's a literal parade, so there are drums. And there's obvious romantic intention between Jiro and Sasina. They kiss. They're quite excited. Jiro wonders out loud if Sasina will get 2 marks, because she already has 1 mark. And she says she'll have to see, but she's also sad that Jiro will die before getting another mark. They kiss, and they head off to Lord Jiro's chamber to do whatever 2 people in love do. This would be why Jiro would be so opposed to dating Karna, is because he was already in a loving relationship with Sasina. He just couldn't reveal that yet, and so he said something very mean that probably affected Karna deeply. Karna's life has been affected to a level you could never describe, about that whole, you're a great weapon, don't think about being a woman, all because Jiro didn't feel like he needed to tell people about Sasina's existence. Nothing would have changed if they knew about it, just Jiro being weird again. Just Jiro deciding he isn't going to tell people. Next day, Jiro and Sasina call one by one to discuss battle plans. We are not super going to go into all these plans. Jiro and Sasina suggest just a lot of random things to people, and it's dumb. They don't use these ideas in the book, just ideas, ways you could use humans. But they do talk to Akane 5 and 6. 5 and 6 are identified as people. They're identified first. Just point out, Sasina can identify them. She can tell them apart. They don't get it. How do you do that? Sasina says, it's because I've watched you grow up. They think that's weird. They're like, dang, are you watching us in the showers? Freaky. Anyway, they would like Akane to use being Akane, her Heptarian blood, to use a divine. They have a plan. They would like to kill either Genta or Trafa and steal his divine card and make Akane use it. They'll make one of the Akanes the wielder. They think because she has Heptarian blood, she might be able to use a wish card like that. She isn't stuck only using demon brands like the rest of them. Okay. They don't have any proof this will work though. They believe there could be some side effects to being a demon brand user and a divine. They think there are opposed sides of life force, demons versus good, divine versus demons. They think it might hurt, but they'd like Akane to try, and Akane, the Akanes, on behalf of the Akanes, agree. They will give that a shot. The only other big thing that happens in this meeting is they meet with Cordelica and Sarku, and they express that as the strongest, they believe they're the strongest, they think they're the only person who can kill Genta. They think that, not even just they believe they can kill him, they think if anyone's going to have a chance, it's Sarki and Cordelica. And they would like Sarki to eat, I have the chemical, hydrogen sulfate. They'd like sulfide. They'd like Sarki to eat this so she can make poisonous gas. Cordelica is immediately opposed. He does not want her eating this gas. They explain it's a poisonous, corrosive, flammable gas, and they think if they give Sarki a low enough dosage, it won't kill her, and she'll be able to recreate the gas in bigger dosages, and it will become an insane weapon. Cordelica says that he doesn't love it, but Sarki gives in. She says she'll take the small dosage. She takes small dosage, she converses, she's in pain, she survives. She survives, they leave, Jiro's satisfied. Cordelica makes a note of saying that after this battle, he plans to stop the fighting. If this really ends the war between both countries, then it is finally time that Sarki goes to a real school. Sarki says she doesn't care about school. All she cares about is being by Cordelica's side. They go back to their room. We now get a name for, because Tara is called in, and when Tara comes in, she has her child with her, and we're given the name to that child. That child's name is Yoshida. Yoshida is the name of the child she found. I should put that lower. Let's take him off. Okay, put it lower. He doesn't really matter, so I'm gonna put him really low, because low doesn't really work. Yoshida is the name of that child. Child she survived. Child she likes. Tara has full plans to raise this child as her own. They've built limbs. They've installed limbs on him. These limbs are mechanical for the 2 missing limbs he already had. These limbs are not Akatsushimian science. They are hinted to be, they are Genuopus's scientific invention. This is the first time we talk about Genuopus. This hermit town that doesn't care about any of the other countries is scientific. They're huge on robotics. At the end of this arc, we will really get into talking about what's going on in this country, but for now, let's move on. All you need to know, they built limbs and they traded, and for some reason they have it. Back at Heptaria's royal castle. There, passing along. Queen Foss wakes up, and William is waiting for her, and he gives her agenda for the day, because this is what you're going to do today. They don't have a lot to do today. Foss's day is basically just going to be documents, and there's going to be a school of children coming by. She's going to do some reading to them, public appearance, get some photos, look cool, easy day. They're completely unaware that this day is the day that the Akatsushimians are going to invade. Totally unaware. Okay, we're going to be jumping back between the Demon Brain home and this palace by hours. So the current time was 8 o'clock when Foss wakes up. Now, back here, 9 o'clock. The ballroom is filled now with monsters in cages. Everyone is dressed up fancy for the invasion. Another part of just Jiro's sense of style, he wants them all dressed up in fancy clothing that they can still fight in. Yeah. Okay, back here. 11 a.m. Foss has just finished up her paper. She heads downstairs, picks up a book, and is going to read for another hour while she waits for these children to wake up. It is noted Foss has never left this castle. Never left the castle since she was just a 1-year-old baby. She's lived in this castle, never left. Luckily, all her info about the outside world comes from William. William's so helpful. He tells her all about what's going on in the world. But she admits she's never actually seen the outside world. She just trusts what William says. Isn't that nice? She's looking forward to hearing children praise her. Foss wants to hear children praise her. Okay, back to Demon Brand home. 11:40 a.m. Everyone has now arrived. Sarki and Cordelica, last to arrive, of course. The Akanes are noted to be wearing all different colored sundresses. They're trying to tell him that he's going to die today, and he loves them all. That is essentially all that speech was about. Besides being like, we're gonna save the country, yeah. He's proud of all of them. He makes a notice saying that no matter how much he might have treated them or actually not liked them, he's still proud. He's talking about Sarki, he's talking about how much he hates Sarki. But he does say he's proud of them regardless if he actually likes them on a personal level. Sasina creates a doorway that leads to the gate to the castle. They're going to be immediately inside. Okay, Heptaria, at 12 p.m., school children arrive, and they are funneled into a reading room with a fireplace where Foss is waiting to read to them. Trappa is noted to have not been allowed to attend a summit. Gento went off to a summit. The summit is held on this spot, on this edge, between Renois and Genois. All 4 countries are invited to these kind of summits, but Akazushimians never show up to these meetings. It is usually just Renois, Genois, and Heptaria. And Gento is here representing the country. And Trappa wanted to come, he was not allowed. So that means he's the only person in this castle who's a divine, besides Sasina. Sasina is also in the castle, but we know she's on the other side. A guard encounters a red dog from Ricky's ability. It is the first casualty of the war. It is noted that an Akazushimian dog kills a Heptarian guard. They drew first blood. Makes sense. That guard screams, alerts other guards to come running. At the same point, Sarki runs into some guards. They mistake her for a school child. Convenient. She begins to massacre them. One guard gets away from Sarki and sounds the alarm. The silent invasion is over, and time for a loud invasion. Alarms go off, and Queen Foss is told to stay put with the children, and the guards begin to swarm where she is to protect her. The head guard runs off to leave to go check on the situation, leaving all the guards behind. Children begin to cry, and Foss says they're going to be fine. Foss believes that any minute, Trappa and Sasina will break in and save them, because they have 2 divine here. Half of the divine are in the castle. There's no way they can lose. Also, she knows William's in the castle, and we'll go into, in a minute, how much confidence she has in William's abilities. Little she know, Sasina's not on their side, and Trappa is unaware at the moment until those alarms go off. The head guard appears again, asks if Foss is still inside. The other guards say yes, she's inside this door. We can't open it though, because we've got her locked up safe. Don't worry, head guard. The head guard begins to kill the other guards. He is a puppet being controlled by Cordelica. That's really sad. Cordelica kills all the guards with no effort and throws aside the head guard. He doesn't need him anymore. Sarki stands at the door and begins firing bullets from her mouth. Using stomach storage, she can fire anything she's eaten. She's eaten bullets, apparently. And she begins to fire them at any guards trying to come. She's protecting the room. Now it is just Cordelica, the children, Sarki, and Queen Foss. Cordelica and Sarki have an idea of their own, separate from Jiro's plan. They're being a little naughty, a little mischievous. They have something they want to do with Foss that isn't part of Jiro's plan. Jiro will go into what his plan was later when he reprimands them for what they're about to do. Foss begins to beg that they spare the lives of the children. And Cordelica asks how old the children are. The children are about 6 to 11. He points out that's about the age that Sarki was when Heptarian foster homes forced her to eat garbage because of her Akazushimian blood, and asks, Foss, were you ever made to do that? Foss admits she's never been made to eat garbage, and that sucks, because he thinks they're ready to die, because if Heptarians were ready to abuse Akazushimian children, they're aware that Foss had full intent to kill the children of Akazushimian, so that means it's okay to kill the Heptarian children, an eye for an eye. But he says that if you do what we say, Queen Foss, if you do what we say, we will not kill he doesn't say he won't kill them, he says he'll spare them any pain. She takes that as meaning they won't kill her. Obviously that's not what that meant, but it's quick. He has Sarki create a vessel, which is a tiny doll that looks like Foss. Cordelica then pulls out a wish card we've seen before. Wish card 189, Time Seal. You might remember, this is a wish card that Jiro had given to Kaido in a letter. But it turns out Cordelica has one as well. It's a wish card, it's a rare one, but he has one. He gives it to Foss, and it reminds her that this wish card allows you to seal a person, the user of the card, into an object for 10 years. And in those 10 years, their body is impermeable, they can't be hurt, they can't be injured, they cannot die. You cannot die while inside that object for 10 years. Problem is it costs 10 years of your life. So they say if you activate the card, because they are unable to activate the card because of their blood. Foss activates the card, doing what she's told, seals herself inside the doll. Cordelica says, that is the end of phase 1. Phase 2 begins. Sarki eats the doll and creates 2 of the doll. Cordelica holds up the dolls and shows them to the children and says, now kids, what we have 2 perfect copies of the item Queen Foss imprisoned herself in. In 2 years, in 10 years, there'll be 2 queen fosses, or two queens gonna come out of this doll. What's gonna happen? I really wonder. This is part of their experiment. Koudelka and Sarki wanna find out what happens when she creates 2 of a person. She can't eat people, but she can eat objects that are imprisoned in. It's a loophole. She wants to find out in 10 years, will 2 queen fosses exist? Or will one of them only exist? Or will these both be fakes because she ate the real one? Then Cordelia says, look, we promised Queen Foss we wouldn't cause you any pain. But we didn't say we wouldn't kill you. We're going to gas you. They gas the children. Cordelia uses a gas mask. He's safe. He's safe, he's safe, he's safe. Children die with no pain. It is noted the children die no pain, no pain. At this point, Traffus heard the alarm. He hears the alarm. It is time to move. Time to protect his country. He runs to Sasina's room. He knocks on the door. Sasina says, come on in. He comes on in. He walks through the doorway, and he sees Sasina wrapped around Lord Jiro. At this point, he's been tricked into walking into the Dimensional Palace by opening that door because she opens gateways. He walked through her gateway, and he's now trapped inside Sasina's Dimensional Palace. Traffa now learns that Sasina has betrayed the country, and that he is the only divine right now who can protect the castle. So he needs to, a lot of work. An Akane appears. Not one of 5 or 6, regular Akane. This is noted to be one of the non-numbers, so it's 1, 2, or 3. And she begins to fight Traffa with an axe. Traffa pulls her into a mindscape, and both their bodies drop to the ground. And another Akane appears with an axe to kill him. But Traffa suddenly returns and dodges, revealing his new technique called the quick release, where he's able to quickly release the mindscape faster than he previously was able to. And he explains that when you're pulled into your mindscape, your body goes limp as you go unconscious. But if you're able to suddenly quick change and go back in, you're thrown off balance or off your plan because your body is constantly flopping around, going limp as he returns you back to your body and sucks you out of your body. He uses this crazy technique, and as an Akane comes down with an axe, he's able to make her body go limp, and him able to dodge out of the way, and her axe hits into a no number. The Akane stabs another Akane right in the face. It is pretty obvious she has just killed another Akane. One of the no numbers is dead. The no numbers are believed to be the 3 Akanes who might be the original. So to know one of the original 3 died is a big deal. Traffa is now feeling confident in his ability. He thinks he's going to be able to pull this through. His non-combat ability, he's able to use it for combat. He feels pretty good. Toshi appears. He is enraged. He's enraged to see one of the Akanes die. And he slices Traffa's head off with a void in a technique Traffa was unprepared for. Just use the void to void his head away and then close the void, snapping his head off. As his head flies off to the air, he says out loud, I'm sorry, sister. I never could rescue. Sasina is being cocky, opens the floorboards and shows Nermosa's sleeping body and laughs at him, saying, you were so close to getting to her. In this moment, Traffa uses Mindscape into Nermosa's head, and time moves faster inside Nermosa's head. So as seconds are going by and he's dying, he's able to have a conversation with Nermosa, and he apologizes to her. He says, I'm sorry, Nermosa, for never coming to rescue. She says it is cool, and that she's been a prisoner inside her mind. Despite being put to sleep by Venus, she is fully awake inside her mind, and has been forced to live years and years inside her own mind. She hates it. She really hates it, but she needs to be rescued. Travis says he can't rescue him. He's only just ahead right now. Nermosa says she is able to activate her divine wish card from inside. We now need to explain what is so valuable about Nermosa that they kept her alive and kept her in the basement for all these years. Nermosa's divine ability is called divine reincarnation. It is what it sounds like. She is able to save someone who just died and throw their soul somewhere else in the world, rescuing them with all their memories intact so they can come back. Although the downside is, in most cases, divine reincarnation puts you into a baby, it can also put you into the body of someone who just died. So she does that and sends Traffa's body off, saying, please, would you please come save me someday? Traffa says he will. His soul disappears, and all that is left is his dead body, his dead head, and his divine mindscape, which Jiro picks up and hands to Akane 05 and says, it is yours, Akane. Akane escape. And a 5 says, that's a name alright, don't call me that. I'm sorry, it wasn't Akane 05, it was one of the no numbers, because she calls the Akane 05, Akane escape, to one of the no numbers, and the Akane says, no, I'm the original, while crying over the body of the other Akane. It's a sad moment. Jiro's messing up. Okay, back at the castle. Outside the divine palace, the real palace has gone to. I mean, it's full blown out all out battle. Karna and Morana. This is a pretty exciting chapter. I'll be honest. I really like this chapter that we're getting into. Karna and Morana. They are running through the hallway of the castle. They are told to look for Queen Foss, and they're also told to look out for any of the divine. I will now rip Kratha and Queen Foss off since they're dead. Get that out, make it a little clearer. Okay, they're dead. But they're looking for these guys, maybe also Genta. They're looking out for these things. They're unaware that Cordelica has already gone and killed them. While looking, they enter into the Holy Church of Piaccio's wing of the castle. The castle has a huge cathedral attached to it. Inside this cathedral-like room, they see a huge stone slab, and at the head of the room, and standing above it is William, the Holy God Hand. William, head of the church, and Karna immediately shoots paper blades at him, and with his left hand, he just flicks them aside. That is something not a normal person can do, so it freaks her out. He says, "You can't possibly think you can take me on, do you?" And that upsets Karna. He says he wants to show them something. He wants to show them something cool. He wants to show them just how powerful Apteria is, and how powerful the church is. He wants to show them something they've created. With the guidance of the church and their abilities, they've made something that Akatsushimiya could never do. Something that goes beyond the power of Piaccio. As he's doing something, Karna says to Morana, your defense, I'm attacked. Morana pulls out some kind of slime thing and summons a slime monster to act as a shield around them. It surrounds them. It's going to be there to be a barrier between them and William. As a last thing. The slab he's sitting on begins to rise, and it reveals an image of Piaccio. It also has small indents that show wish cards, but the wish cards are folded in weird ways. Finally, it opens up to a big opening, and we see the body of a boy. There's a boy inside the slab. That's kind of weird, but let's get to that. There's a boy in it. He has silver hair and piercings, and super long hair. Behind the wall, behind the slab, begins to open. And we've been to seeing glass cases with lights in them. There's something inside these glass cases. There are hundreds of them, about 250 to be exact. And inside the glass boxes, these glass cubes are lighting up, and there are wish cards on the side of them. Each of these glass cubes is a wish card with something else inside the box. Okay, William says, allow me to introduce you to the greatest weapon, Alka, or the artificial wish card. Gotta sit him down here. Here's another reoccurring here. Alka. Artificial wish card number 1. It is the first of the one. Using the Church of Piaccio's great resources, they discovered a way to create their own wish card. One, in the fruits of labor, and he'd like to use it in an experiment against Karna and Morana. He knows how strong they are. He wants them to test Alka. And they don't really have a choice in the matter because it's a fight. The glass cubes in the back, behind, begin to glow a light red, and suddenly the boy in the slab begins to move. His eyes look empty, his pupils are gray, and his face was emotionless. They make a note that Alka is super fast. It's faster than both Morana and Karna naturally. William confirms Alka is actually both the cubes in the back and the body. It is a system made up of 2 parts. Karna immediately strikes the body and hits it, confirming that it is a dead corpse. The body of Alka that isn't the glass cubes is just a body. She begins shooting paper blades as they fight in hand-to-hand combat. A couple of them hit 2 glass cases, and 2 of the glass cases behind it break open, and something pink falls out. And William picks one up and is annoyed she broke them and throws it at Karna. Karna catches what he threw and confirms it is organs and brains. Human organs and brains are what were inside those cubes. She then confirms Morana that yes, what's inside those 250 cubes are definitely the organs and human organs and human brains, 250 to be exact. Morana laughs and makes fun of William. He says, look, you really had to use your own people to invent a copy of my ability. Williams really dislikes that comparison. He says that Alka is the perfect warrior. Controlled by the minds of 250 orphans the church had at our disposal. You take the important part of an orphan and the importance of certain wish cards, combine them into the greatest weapon ever made. She is sure that Alka is on the level of a divine. That's how powerful he believes it is. And he says, he says the body of Alka is on the level of divine. Before he died, the body they're using was on the level of divine, and if he wasn't killed so early in his life and wasn't just a shell right now, he might have been someone who could rival William. But because they killed him so young, it doesn't work. They go, dang. Karna's all like, dang, I can't believe you killed one of your own guys who was super powerful. You should have nurtured him. This is where William reveals that Alka's body does not come from Heptaria. It comes from Runois. They would never sacrifice their own. The boy was a super powerful Runois who they fought in a secret battle that was unsanctioned. There is no battle between Runois and Heptaria. So this was something they did in secret. They kidnapped a boy and fought him and killed him. They basically abducted a boy from Runois, who they had heard of was super powerful. The Holy Church just can do that. The Holy Church, in fact, he says, the Holy Church is actually going to take over the whole world at some point. At some point, churches will sprout up in every one of these countries. But for now, they are just inside Heptaria, because these two both have their own belief systems that reject Heptaria, and Heptaria rejects Alka's Ishmael, so they don't need that. Okay. Karna splits her swords into 2 medium blades and goes from either side and is able to land 2 cuts on William's shoulders. This really doesn't make William happy. William really hates that. He immediately disappears. He's frustrated, he disappears. Just gone. She doesn't know where he went. She's confused how he's able to do that. Marana, at the same time, has been breaking cubes. He's able to break about 7, and he begins to do the math saying that he's broken about 2.8 of its processing power, percent of the cubes with a 2% process power. But it says that they still have 97.2% of their processing power still working. He wants to limit the amount of brains. Marana makes the belief that he believes if you can get it down to about 85% of its processing power, he might have a fighting chance. But at this point, he's losing this battle slowly. Karna joins in. Now with William disappeared. She doesn't know where he went. She begins breaking cubes too. But the more cubes she breaks, the more angry Alka begins. He begins slashing. Alka begins slashing Karna. He lands a big hit into her side, and she begins pouring out blood. She doesn't like it. And she's able to kick Alka in the face, but it does nothing. She stomps on his face. She stabs it in the eye holes. Nothing is working. Alka is a corpse that feels nothing. Marana has an idea. He comes up with an idea. This is, I think, one of the coolest things Marana has done up until now is this idea. Let me explain this idea. Okay, it's a risky move, Marana knows. But he tells Karna to make an opening, and that he's going to make an opening. And no matter what happens during this opening, Karna, you need to just kill. And so, if you don't take the kill shot, just don't think about anything else. And Marana drops his scythe, his weapon of choice. It's his only offensive tool, besides his souls, and charges in and tackles Alka's corpse, and whispers, soul release. Marana begins to pour his souls into the body of Alka. The cubes on the wall begin to glow red with frustration. The cubes on the wall begin to glow dark red, and they, as he starts to laugh, and he makes fun of them. He says, "What's wrong? You puny 234 souls of children? You don't think you can take on my 5,678 souls? I'm in control now. Class is in session. You think a copycat could beat me?" And that really upsets the orphan children's souls. Alka's body is in shock. It doesn't know what to do. The body, which was before had a clean flow of thought and precise commands coming from orphans, is now filled with the screaming of the tortured souls that live inside Marana. Marana is noticing that the children are able to kill the souls. Slowly he's seeing the number of souls inside him dropping as he pours them into his body. But pouring these souls in confuses the body enough that Karna is able to get a good hit and begins to kill more of the cubes as well as the body. She makes a final move. She stabs through the back of Marana and into Alka. Luckily Marana can repair himself, but Alka's body is out of commission. It can no longer move. The body stops and the wall turns white. Marana makes a point of saying he lost 400 souls. And he lost 400 souls in that battle. And if Karna had taken much longer, Alka might have actually killed him. He's freaked out by that, and they both agree that they're pretty excited about seeing what AWC2 will look like, because they want to know what it's like. William appears. He was hiding, and he says, "Thank you for testing it." He acknowledges that yes, there will be a second, a third, and a fourth. In the series, we get more discussion on William's project, the Alka's project. The Alk project, not the Alk project, with Alka 2, 3, and 4. But he disappears again. William has no interest in continuing with the body of Alka. He leaves the body of Alka. He leaves the glass cases behind. He just leaves them. Those brains are probably going to be Donzo. Meanwhile, Lord Jiro, Terra, and Sasina are now on the roof of the castle. They've arrived. They've left the Dimensional Palace. They're taking the first step in Nepteria. They walk up to the top of the palace, and they look around the palace roof, and Jiro points in a direction and says, "That's the direction I'm going to fire the parade." And Sasina says that parade direction will be towards a town this direction. They're about here. They're pointing downward towards the downward. And he says it's a town called Yogoshi. This is a town where Kaido was born. That I did not mention before, because it's not really important, but yes, the parade is being fired towards where Kaido grew up, where his parents probably might be. And Terra feels like she should care about that, but those are Clara's feelings, and she doesn't want to feel Clara's feelings right now, because she's still rejecting Clara. They agree. Jiro crosses his legs, he sits down, he's gotta start preparing the blade. Meanwhile, Venus and Hesper are skipping along the inside of the palace, and they are doing the invasion thing. They thought it was going to be scary and hard. Hesper just shoots trains at people, and it's good. They run into Kaine number 6, and she makes them food, and they end up not continuing their invasion. They just stay in the kitchen and eat food. They eat too much food, they decide to rest. Kordaka and Sarki arrive on the roof, where Jiro, Terra, and Sasina are, and they reveal what they did to the queen. Lord Jiro says he wanted her to become a puppet they can control through Morana's ability, and he's very upset with what they did, but also notes that he doesn't fully care because this is Terra's problem now. He's about to die. Who cares about your rebellious streak, Kordaka, doing what you weren't told? That's your problem now. Jiro pulls out his Demon Brand, Heavenly Family Parade, and says he needs 10 minutes to fully activate it. And so until then, everyone needs to form a defensive circle around him. Do not let anyone interrupt this process. He needs 10 minutes to make the parade happen. 2 minutes in, there's a crash on the wall. Huh? Who's that? There's a huge rock that just hit the castle. And Toshi identifies, saying that Renois Quartz warriors are over there. They've come to assist Nepteria from their attack, and they believe Genta perhaps might have gotten word to Renois, even though the summit should have had Genopus people too, so if it was Genta who's behind this, you would think Genopus people would come help too. They also note there are only 5 courts, and Lord Jiro says, hey, that doesn't make a lot of sense. There's no way Renois would only send 5 people. This must be not related to Genta. And Toshi then makes another point. He says, you know what? Even crazier, among those 5 people is Kaido. Huh? Kaido is among those. And Terra feels unwell. And then also, they explain what a quartz is. A quartz is the equivalent of a divine in terms of their holy system. A quartz is a high-level user of the 9 beings system. They go, what is a 9 being? They don't have wish cards in Renois. As we get into slowly learn more countries, Nepteria, only one with wish cards. Renois has the 9 beings system. They instead use a completely different system that involves making contracts with the 9 divine beings and building tiny little pocket shrines to call upon them. At this point, they're interrupted as Lord Jiro stops the explanation to say he's got 5 minutes left. Stop those courts. Keep them off. The Demon Brand rally and they cheer. We're now going to jump over to 8 months prior to this. 8 months prior to the Neptarian Castle of Fire. 1 month has passed since Kaido and Anna split ways, and Kaido and Mavis have slowly worked their way through the woods. They are working their way up this wall, heading towards Renois. This is foreshadowing for where they're about to end up. Throughout the next month, they are following a stream, and they reach about this point unaware. They step over some old abandoned stone walls and wonder why there are stone walls out in the middle of the forest. This would be them crossing the border. They are not aware they've just crossed the border in Renois. They set up camp for the night, and the sound of someone walking outside, running around, scares Kaido, and Kaido walks outside and is attacked by a boy with long, long claws, like Wolverine claws. He looks human, but he's got these long claws, and he's the weirdest, fastest human Kaido's ever seen. Kaido's never seen somebody who walks that fast. Kaido cannot tell much about this boy, except for that he's over 17 is his guess. He calls out to him and says, who are you? Why are you attacking? And the person looks at him and says, "Who are you? You've trespassed on my land, and now you must be, and you're a skeleton. You're a skeleton, you trespassed on my land, you must be an Akazusha Mian weapon, so I'm here to dispose of you." Kaido says, "Hey, look, I might look like a skeleton, I am human, I swear, I do not know this was someone's land." And he says, "You said I crossed over from Akazusha Miya. This is Akazusha Miya, right?" The boy then corrects him, "No, this is Rainobu's." Kaido apologizes and says, "I did not know I crossed into Rainobu's, my bad." And the boy says, "Oh, okay." They cool down. He says, "You're allowed to pass through our land. Please be free to pass." Kaido and Mavis are about to leave, but Kaido says, "I really like your claws. What wish card are those?" The boy begins to laugh, and he says, "That's not a wish card, my friend. You'll be hard-pressed to find anyone who uses wish cards out here. This speed is thanks to a being called Chu, who is one of the 9 beings. And in a minute, I'm going to flip on this other side of this board. I have the 9 beings written down. We're just going to get to them when Kaido has explained what the 9 beings are." Kaido is taken aback by the sound of the 9 beings. Then this boy says, "It's really funny, you're from Heptaria, right?" "No, duh, you don't know anything about this. You guys are all uneducated." Kaido says, "You don't need to do that. My country has nothing to do with the lack of knowledge on your land. If your land is so great, I probably would have heard of it. Are you sure the 9 beings are not as just a word, a stupid thing, like inferior to wish cards?" And that makes this boy really mad. This boy says, "I assure you, your land is the only one who holds wish cards. You will not find anyone else in the rest of the world. You probably have heard that little rumor that the Wisher brought wishes to the whole world." And Kaido says, "Yeah, the Wisher visits the whole world." And the boy says, "Nah, you're stupid, that's Heptaria propaganda. You guys are the only ones getting these magic cards. The rest of us have to fend for our own. But luckily, we all have our own belief systems that we follow. We do not worship Piacio, we worship the 9 beings in this land." He even says, "I've never seen Piacio. To me, you seem like you're the liar, so believe in my 9 beings." Kaido and Mavis follow this boy back to his home. He says he can meet his master. This is where they meet, and I'll put up their names. We get to meet the boy's name. The boy, his name is, I'll put him on this side, Dio. And he meets his master, Ruby. Ruby is Dio's master. She is much older than them, probably in her 40s, 50s. Close to maybe 60s, just looks about 40, 50. That is Kaido's guess. A lot of the characters don't actually have ages, you just have to say it those way. Kaido apologizes to her as well for trespassing. He says, "Sorry." Ruby introduces herself as Ruby and says she's the master of this temple. They live in a house connected to a temple. She explains that they apologize for startling Kaido, but he had startled a spirit known as Nu. Nu sensed them in the forest and it freaked it out. That's why they were bad. And then she says, "Apologies, I forgot. Dio mentioned you guys are from the outside. You guys literally know nothing about our country. You guys are Heptarians. You guys are dumb." And she leads them into a big shrine connected to their house. And it is made of this huge stone and with little red and black symbols across it. And as they enter inside, there are 2 lines. Each side has 4 statues with 1 at the back. So 9 statues in total. And she says that these are the 9 beings. They are who they worship here and make contracts with. And they begin to, I'll turn this around, get over to the power system for the 9 beings. Get into pointing at statues. The first one they point to is Nu. Nu is the 9th being and the weakest. Ruby says probably every single person in this freaking country has a contract with Nu, because Nu asks for little but offers nothing, basically. The way the power system works is highest to lowest. So the lower the number, the more valuable they are. The harder it is to make a contract. The 9th Nu, super easy contract. Sanachi said to only have maybe the greatest people in their history books, or the people who have contracts with Sanachi. Okay. Sanachi is the being of light. Those with contracts with him, they said, yeah, greatest historical figures. So you're not moving down. Kaido feels he could grow stronger if he had a contract with a 9 being. He thinks this is a power system he can make use of. Dio explains that the power of the claws he saw was from Chu. Chu is the 5th being and a cat being. It grants him high speeds and those claws he saw. In exchange for the contract. They also make it clear you can make as many contracts as you can handle. As in the offering you offer to these beings might make it impossible to have more than one. There are also certain contracts that we'll get into that make it so you cannot have a contract with other people. Okay, got that? Okay. The 9 beings are the protectors of the land. The same as any country, their protectors have downsides. There is a cost to making a contract. Ruby explains that she only has a single contract, even despite being the master. She's a contract with Gidu. Gidu is the fourth being, and she explains that it cost her 20 years of her life to make a contract, along with another thing she did not mention, which is implied to be fertility. She is unable to have children, and also lost 20 years. Also, she could have a contract with Gidu. But Gidu is a very powerful being, only rivaled by the three higher than her. But that's just what it takes to make a contract that powerful. Kaido gets really upset hearing this. He says that I can't believe for a second I believed you people. You guys said that your 9 beings could rival our wish cards. Well, our wish cards don't hurt people. Your divine beings do. And Ruby gives him a good little slap and says, "You idiot! Look at your body right now. You have to be able to see that that is also a cost of wish card. You've done these things to become powerful. That every system has goods and bad. That not everything can be perfect in a system that grants great power." And they get a little heated, but Kaido and Mavis spend the night. They're offered a night. They spend the night because Kaido is still interested, despite that. They explain, because Mavis is curious why the house is so big and why there's a temple connected to the house. They explain that at one point Ruby was teaching a lot of disciples. Right now her only disciple is Dio. That in times the people of Renoas have just kind of become more inclusive and have started to slowly lose their culture. And that now you only have to go to specialty places. And that Ruby's place has just become run down. There are bigger places though that teach and help study the 9 beings. In the morning, Ruby cooks breakfast, and Kaido makes a development of saying how he no longer thinks he needs to eat because he's only a skeleton. But notes, he does get hungry, so he eats. Ruby makes a point of pointing out that you've worked really hard, Kaido, and Kaido feels really good about that. He starts to like Ruby a little more, because she can understand that he's worked hard. He feels like no one ever sees how hard he works, except for Mavis, but Mavis is a slave and has to do that, so it's different. Kaido says, "You know what, Mavis? Not Mavis. Ruby, I'd like to make a contract." And Ruby is kind of freaked out by that. She's like, "You understand? How do you understand making a contract in a foreign land about customs and abilities you do not understand?" Kaido says, "Look, Ruby, would you train me?" And she says, "Look, I'm training Dio right now, so another student wouldn't really be a big problem. But the big question is, would you devote yourself to this? This isn't a game. This isn't a joke. This isn't just a little cool trading card you get. This is a culture. This is a belief system. Would you dedicate not only learning the power of the 9 beings, but also our culture and our ways and the ways we live in harmony with the 9 beings?" And Kaido says he thinks he can do that. And Ruby walks out into her house and brings back a small silver knife. This is called the Renoas knife, and these knives are given to children when they are ready to reach the age to make a contract. She says, "Go out into the woods and you have to build a shrine. You have to carve one with this knife. This knife is able to cut through rock, it's able to cut through stone. It's a powerful knife that almost magically is able to cut through things." And explains that this shrine, the ability, a lot of making contracts, is in part due to how well you make this shrine. The dedication and love you put into crafting it. And she shows one of her ruby shrines. It's a pun, her name is Ruby, and she has ruby shrines, just a coincidence. It's not really a pun. I said a pun, it's not a pun. But Gindu's shrine she has is made of rubies, and it's so delicately, carefully made. Kaido cannot believe that the figure inside is not a tiny person. It's so well carved. It's crazy. Warns Kaido, if you do not carve a good one, if you're lazy, if you choose a material that is weak, like if you try to use trees, that's weak, that's stupid, what kind of divine being would want to live in a tree? You have to make a nice home for these divine beings. So Kaido goes out, and she also makes I found that. She says it sometimes takes people years to learn how to make shrines. And Kaido leaves, and he goes out for 7 days. He ventures out and doesn't return for 7 days. He returns in 7 days. After 7 days of just basically leaving Mavis to hang out here, 7 days, he returns with a white shrine and collapses to the dead. And Ruby admires the white shrine he made and notices it's literally one of his rib cages. One of his ribs is missing. He seems to have not been able to regrow it after using it for a holy pact and making a shrine. That's a little strange. It doesn't really come up again, but he's missing a rib. He might be able to regrow it, but it's implied at the moment he hasn't, so maybe he's just so tired. She checks it out. He's put little gemstones in the little bone, and she feels, for the first time, maybe he can really do this, because that was pretty cool. That looked pretty good, respectable. Next day, Kaido enters the main shrine with his small shrine in hand. He sits down in the center and begins to pray a prayer that Ruby taught him. Ruby taught him a quick prayer that used to call to the spirits. And he sits there and he sits, and he goes up to the contract. To do this, you have to go up to the statue you want to make a contract with. You don't just invite all of them. He sits next to Shu, the third being. That's one higher than Gyuru, who is who Ruby has a contract with. So it's probably going to cost a lot. But he sits there and he prays to him and requests a contract. He falls asleep. He wakes up and he finds himself in a black void. And in this void is a pit of fire with a large burning fire. And in the distance above him, a speck of light speeds at him, and it is the winged Shu. Shu is a form of a winged angel with beautiful white wings. And he says, "Hello, Kaido. It's very rare to see a foreigner come and try to go part of our culture, and especially to try to take on someone like me, the third being. You have to have a huge offering. What do you have that's worth me? What do you have to call to me?" And Kaido makes a crazy offer. He says, "I offer you my skin, my organs, my eyes, my ears, my taste, and everything else I have until I'm stripped to the bone." And Shu flaps his wings and begins to laugh. Tears actually form in Shu's eyes as he laughs and says, good show, like that's funny. An offering that large would be worthy of Paku, or maybe even Sanichi. He says, to give that much, to basically give your entire life to me, that's huge. But also says, look, you think that might be a joke? If you're joking, understand you really can't offer me that. Your body parts really are somewhere out there, and you will never be able to gain your skin, your eyes, your ears, your taste back if you hand those over to me. And Kaido says, I have no need for them. What I need right now is strength and power, and you can offer me those. And so Shu opens a doorway, and skin and eyeballs pour out into the fire. And Kaido makes a note that he feels pretty comfortable with that, because at least now he knows what his body parts were. Before, he had no idea what Morana had done with those body parts. Now he can see that they are inside Shu's fire. And so the contract is made. And Shu says, look, you will now be able to get into using my wings. You can use my wings, and there are other effects that Shu can offer. But for right now, Kaido has now gained Shu. Put him on the board. He's not really a character, more of an ability, but I thought I'd put him up there just in green to show this is something that Kaido is loyal to, not some alliance, but really is part of Kaido's group, is Shu, and Shu's ability to give him wings. He returns from the main shrine and goes back to Ruby, and first he burns an incense, then he returns back to his room. He has to keep showing respect to Shu. A bright yellow light did enter into his shrine. I get a little ahead of myself. Bright yellow light goes into his shrine, then he goes outside. He returns into Ruby's home, and Ruby asks, are you prepared to train? And he says yes. Okay, we finally return back to the main gang, back to everything that was going on with the Demon Brand on top of that roof. 5 minutes until the parade begins. Lord Jiro is sitting on top of that roof. 5 minutes until the parade is ready. But suddenly the courts are approaching. Dio, Ruby, Kaido, Mavis, and another one of Ruby's students who's unnamed. Toshi is surprised to see Kaido with Akane's brother with the courts. Akane is impressed that her brother actually did something and go to another country. She sees similarities to her. She'll talk to him about it in a minute. Okay, Kaido is charging with his companions. While studying at Renois, Kaido and the other students heard about what was happening in his country. And he felt bad, and Ruby, since she's his master, brought her other students along to help maybe do what they can to protect his home country. They continue onward, and Kaido doesn't use his new wings yet. He makes a note saying he tries to not use them at all, because it is a sacred power, and he respects the culture that you do not just use these abilities just for willy-nilly things. This is only when you truly need them, and right now Kaido does not need to use the wings. But if it seems like it's going to be dangerous, he will use the wings. It is just at the moment he's not, because he's riding on horseback. They run through the woods when suddenly voids open up underneath their feet from Toshi. He separates them. Everyone is separated now. This is the beginning of trying to protect Lord Jiro from the attack. So Toshi is separated everyone. And Kaido sees 6 Akanes. And he says, Akane, what has happened? What have you done to our home country? And she looks at him and says, I heard you went to Renois. If it's true, we're so much alike. And Kaido's like, what do you mean? And she says, look, 2 siblings, both venture into foreign lands to gain their knowledge and power. Isn't that sort of the same? And Kaido says, no, it's not the same. I didn't leave my home because I felt like it. I left to gain enough strength to protect those I love, completely unlike you who just abandoned us. And she says, Kaido, It's like, let's be real. Do you think I could have lived a normal life in our home? When I was given a demon brand, the church would have found out and they would have killed me. I had to leave. And I went to demon brand, and Kaido says, you don't have any proof. The Holy Church is messed up. He agrees. But that doesn't mean they would have killed you. You could explain things to us, to me, to mom, to dad. He makes a big point of pointing out that they thought she was dead. And she says, well, how do you feel now? Like, you felt bad and sad that I was dead. Do you feel better that you now know I betrayed the country and went to Akane Tsushimiya? Like, isn't it better that you thought I was dead? And Kaido refuses to believe that. She then makes a big statement. She says, Kaido, the wish cards are stolen. Piacio was taken control of. The royals made him stop granting wishes to the rest of the world. Now it is only Heptarians who can get wishes. The church has him in their pocket. They are in control of Piacio. He is not the one they worship. Secretly, the one they worship is truly just William. He is in control of Piacio. Then she makes it even crazy because she reveals to him that Akatsushimiya is the true home of the Wisher. The Wisher is from Akatsushimiya. The wish cards belong to Akatsushimiya. Akatsushimiya, the Wisher, shared his wishes with the world, and this country, Heptaria, stole them from the Wisher after his death, and took them for themselves. And they're the evil ones. And Kaido screams, stop all those lies! And says that the demon brand has filled you with lies and evil lies, and that you're a traitor to the world, Akane, and I hate you, and I can't believe you abandoned me. And Kaido is not being rational. Akane is really trying. And Akane, in a fit of rage, just goes, you know what? She reveals it. She says, look, Lord Gio is about to kill everyone in Heptaria. Heptaria is gone. It's over. There's no country for you to protect anymore. And Kaido freaks out, sprouts his wings, and shoots towards the castle. And they need to protect Lord Giro. He's only got a couple minutes left, about 2 minutes left. And so Toji launches a void and hits him onto the ground, saying, hey, how's it been? I miss you. Kaido says, get off me, I hate you. Currently, Ruby is fighting red dogs. It's noted that Gyuru, her contract, gives her poisonous blood. She's pink poisonous blood. It is a poison, not a physical attack. So it is able to kill red dogs. This royally makes Ricky mad. Ricky hates the fact that his dogs are losing so easily. Meanwhile, Cordelica attacks Dio, just knocks him out. It's a really quick fight. Dio holds not even a candle to the power of Cordelica. Cordelica knocks him out but doesn't kill him because he believes the parade will kill him anyway, so no point. Saraki finds Mavis and just basically scares her before Cordelica appears through a void and grabs her, saying, it's time. The Akanes begin to funnel through a void, and the final Akane, a no number, says, brother, I really hope you live through this. And Kaido says, I hate you, and she disappears. He says, sorry, so he actually says, there's a full line I have. Get lost, Akane, go off and dive deeper into the darkness of the demon brand. It's all you've ever done. And Akane frowns and says, Kaido, I can't go back in time. My choices are only the ones I have made, and I have to live with them forever. Same goes for you. And then she points to where the parade is about to head. She goes, Yugoshia is in that direction. It is most likely about to be destroyed. I cannot tell you if mom and dad are still there, or if they've evacuated. Make a choice, Kaido. There's no wrong choice, just better ones. And that upsets Kaido, and she disappears. He stops everything himself. He can either go try to attack Lord Jiro, or he can start flying towards his home and maybe save his parents. But then he also starts to forget. Where's Ruby? Where's Dio? Where's Maeve? He's in a panic. He's flying around the sky looking for people. At this moment, the 5 minutes have finally ended. Lord Jiro smiles. His demon brand glows as he drops to his knees. There's no going back. The parade has entered the world. Here we go into the parade. Some of the most exciting things to happen. This is a pretty insane moment. The quiet sound of band instruments rang in the sky. Quietness, the world's quietness is interrupted by the sound of music playing. The demon brand members retreat to a safe distance, leaving only Sasina, Terra, and Jiro on the top of that roof to watch. The rest are at a safe distance watching the parade. Beings made of smoky light march through the air. They circle the castle as they approach Jiro. In the front of the parade were drummers and dancers, each wearing masks which covered their eyes but not their mouths. And then we go into a lot of detail about the drums play this and the symphony, and there's a lot of instruments. The important part is the demon brand's eyes lights up as they start to see faces they recognize. Members of the demon brand, long dead, marched in the parade and waved as they approached, bringing tears to the eyes of Cordelica, Karna, and Toshi. Jiro doesn't cry. about seeing his old friends, but Koudelka, Karna, and Toshi do. Their smiles stop as they begin to writhe in pain, a quick pain, as they feel the burning sensation of a mark appear on their back. They now have the mark of the parade. They've witnessed a parade, they now have a mark. Koudelka has a cute moment where he crouches down and he does the whole like, look, you see that right there? That's my old partner. And Sarki waves really hard and says, thank you for taking care. Thank you so much for watching over Koudelka. It's a sweet moment. All the rampage that this is having, this is killing Heptarians, but the Demon Brand are having a nice moment. All the Demon Brand cheer and shout as they wave to their old friends and partners. It was truly an emotional time for them. There are fireworks like sparks flying out from the clouds, and they're exploding. The parade was in full swing, and it's impossible to tell where the parade started and where it ended, because it's so long. The parade begins to march through buildings, and towers came crashing down as the parade keeps marching. They cross fields, lighting them ablaze, and it is true chaos. And puppet strings from previous users of Koudelka's band begin launching out and stealing up the children, men, and women of these farm towns and forcing them to march in the parade. After the destruction of the capital, the parade has gained a few thousand guests, thanks to Resurrection and puppet strings, all dancing and marching together. The music has not stopped and will not stop until the parade is over. The sound of the parade begins to lure people out of their home. I don't know why I didn't kneel down before, this looks way better. Okay, so the sound of the parade begins to lure people out of their homes. People come out of their home and go, what's that? And immediately are killed by the overarching madness of the power that has been unleashed. Pure chaos and destruction at its finest form. So many happy faces smile down as the parade continues. Lord Geo watches as the head of the parade goes out of sight. He can no longer see where the parade is going, only where it's been. He drops down to the ground to rest. His chest feels heavy, his whole body is burning. The cost of the parade is beginning way sooner than he expected. He lies in Sasina's lap. Sasina kneels down on the ground within his head in her lap as she brushes his hair, kissing him, knowing his time is about to be up. And he looks over to Terra and he says, please take care of my family and the Demon Brand. I leave them to you. And she says that it's all okay, and he makes them all go back to Toshi's Void to escape. And all the Demon Brand have to go home. It's not safe here anymore, and everyone else heads home, except for Sasina and Jiro, who sit on that roof, as Sasina watches as Jiro takes his final breaths. He rests his head in her lap, and he dies, as he dies together with her. A line of tears running down Sasina's eyes, dripping down his face, as she feels the overarching sadness of Jiro's sacrifice to protect the people of the world. She believes he's fully in the right. Okay, over here with Kaido. Kaido is brought to insanity. He feels madness overrun his body as he watches the parade, flying over the parade, watching. He sees Mavis. He sees Mavis, and she's crying. And she says she's scared and she wants to go home. And a loud thump alerts her. There's Ruby and there's Dio. Ruby is carrying Dio in her hands. They said they have to get out of here. How do they get out of here? Next to Ruby is an Akane. Kaido begins to get ready to battle. He says, what do you want, Akane? If you hurt a hair on my friend's head, I'll kill you. And this is Akane 06. Akane 06 says, come on, Kaido, there's not enough time for chit-chat. And a void opens up, and she takes them to the forest of Runois, near where they're from. Ruby says they have to listen. Dio is hurt, and he needs medical attention. And there's no point in fighting. And they run through the void until it is everyone else, Mavis included. Now it's just Kaido and Akane 06. She says to Kaido, Kaido, you always seem to act like you know everything, that everything is just black and white, and everything is how you think it is. Well, guess what? I, as a person, as an individual, can decide my fate, and I can do things and decide they're the right thing to do. You can't just decide these things are good or evil, that as a bad person, I shouldn't do good things. I'm saving you and your friends, and, because guess what? Despite it all, despite all you've done, you're still my little brother, and I still love you. And he says, I don't like that. And he actually kind of swings a punch at her, and hits her, knocking her to the ground. Good punch against the face. And she looks up and she frowns at him, and says, you say I'm on the wrong side of the battle, right? But it seems like the right side of the battle is the violent one. And that gets Kaido really, really worked up. But Akane disappears. She moves towards a void. And before she can leave, Kaido asks, how many people are dying in our home? Well, you chose to only save me. Tens of thousands, probably more, like hundreds of thousands. Heptarians no more. And you chose to save me. Why did you choose to save me? And Akane leaves, remarking that she decides what she wants to do. She owes nothing to this home country, and she's doing it for the greater good. In her heart, this is a sacrifice that must be made. Kaido feels differently. Kaido is pushed through the void and falls into Renois. He's back with Dio, Ruby, and Mavis. And as Akane returns to the void, she notes to herself that Kaido's punch actually hurt. She's surprised that he was able to land a hit on her that hurt. She's not used to that. He's gotten stronger. We're then told the parade would end in 21 days, and it would kill 890,540 people. Almost 1 million people died because of that parade. The amount of survivors from Heptaria actually are in these triple digits. The low triple digits, in fact. So there are only a couple, about under 500 people left in this country. Low triple digits, about. The 3 other countries come to unite. That includes Akatsushimiya, are part of this summit. They're allowed to come to a summit where they talk about what they should do with Heptaria. There's discussion that they should cut Heptaria up, but for the moment they do not cut them up. They instead leave Heptaria in the hands of the Holy Church, in charge with William. William at this meeting says that he'll take care of it. The Holy Church PSO is Heptaria's main church, and so they get to lead the country. The parade did not leave a lot of bodies, so there's no proof what happened to Queen Foss. For all they know, Queen Foss is dead, or she could be in hiding. There are rumors either way. Because there's no proof she's dead or alive, William is in charge of the country because there's no monarch left. The Holy Church is noted to have minor losses, but for the most part came out of this tragedy unharmed, which is a scary thing to note, that despite being from Heptaria, their churches are located in Heptaria, minor injuries all they got. Like, William was able to protect all his people, but he chose not to protect the rest of the people. It's up to interpretation how that happened. The church invites everyone left from Heptaria who's of Heptarian blood to come back to the country, to not run away to other countries where it's safer. That they will provide homes, Piacio will protect, and that William has excellent plans for the future. Kaido, back home in Renois, is filled with grief that his parents are probably dead. If he had obeyed their wishes and never went to go get a wish card that day when he turned 15, he'd probably be dead in Heptaria. But he isn't, and in his depression, he goes and he studies under Ruby. He continues his studies under Ruby. Mavis begins training after forming a contract with Nu, that is the weakest one. It's a worthless contract. Mavis is mostly training hand-to-hand combat. But their studies continue. Back at the Demon Brand home, there's a big celebration, not only to welcome Terra as the new leader, we're also welcoming the death of Jiro and the memory of all the dearly departed. Noted that Toshi, Karna, and Cordelica are drinking together, and they drag Sasina into it. They're drinking, talking about old stories of their old friends. This is an emotional day for them. Cordelica is opening up to his old friends. Sasina is dragged in drinking. At the kids' table, Venus and Hesper are eating cakes, along with Terra and her child, Yoshida. Yoshida is being fed food. He's still a mute child. He doesn't talk. It is noted in this. All the Akanes are cooking in the kitchen. They're being the chefs. They also is noted that they make strawberry cake and leave it at the memorial site to remember the no-number Akane that is dead. The Akanes are grieving the loss of one of theirs. Terra gives a speech. She leaves the kid table, she gives a speech. She promises to do her best and uses the slogan that Lurgio says a lot, which is, "Long live Akatsushimiya." Now we jump back to Anna and Red Alex. We haven't talked about them yet. What have they been up to during this? They came home after a long day of playing professional in the arcade. It is noted that in these 9 months, in this time since then, Anna has gotten really, really pro at this game that they are fighting in. She's gotten good that she's actually making money. They have a home. They're not like passing through town to town. They are living in a town in Akatsushimiya. They basically become citizens. And they claim they're just being spies, but they know they're never leaving. Like, they're happy here. They learn of the attack on Heptaria, but Anna doesn't have any family alive anymore. Everyone else is dead, so she doesn't really emotionally feel anything for Heptaria. She just, feels sad that it happened, but no emotional connection. We get to finally talk about Genopus. Genopus is finally noted at the end of this chapter. At the end of the attack, before the epilogue chapter, we talk about Genopus. Genopus is one of the 4 lands, and their people are unlike any of the others because they have metallical bodies. It is noted they used to have human bodies, but they have a form of magic or science that they invented called soul entrapment, where they can force their souls into the bodies of robots they create, a mechanical android life form. And their main goals in life is now just self-survival and building bigger society. Being robots is also part of their antisocial tendencies, where they've lost the humanity part that can deal with loving each other They now basically just are self-sustaining robots. They're led by the head council. The head council rules over Genopus. They don't have a king or queen, they have a council of robots. And they meet to discuss the fall of Heptaria. They talk about the land is in ruin and they should do something about it. And that they're going to take the opportunity to steal resources from Heptaria before the church is able to get back on their feet. They decide they're going to send a scout into Heptaria to scout out resources and what they might do. Genopus is the one who proposed that they cut up Heptaria into 3 pieces, not even pieces, but pieces. So Genopus, being right atop them, would like to eat up most of Heptaria, but was willing to share with the others at the council. They did not let them. They voted, and these 2 countries didn't want to do that. I guess it's not said how the vote went down, but for some reason Genopus' motion was not carried. Genopus is going to send a scout, to check out Heptaria. They still have plans about stealing the land. So now we have the Holy Church, Genois, Akazusha so many groups have plans for the empty Heptaria. What will happen? What is next for the Demon Brand after this? That is the end of the arc, minus a final epilogue chapter called Akane Funeral, which has a lot of info, but also deals with the Akanes giving a funeral. Late in the celebration, Terra gives a speech. She's super drunk, and she says that this really sucks. She doesn't want to lead the Demon Brand. What she really wants is to take Yoshida and go live in a cottage somewhere in Akazusha Miya's forest land, but now she's the head of the family, and the head of the spider family can't leave or something. She makes a Yu Hakusho reference, I'm sorry, Demon Brand, a Hunter x Hunter reference. She makes a Hunter x Hunter reference, the head of the spider can't leave. It's a poor reference. She actually gets the reference wrong, because the spider band, I won't get into the Hunter x Hunter reference, but it is a reference she makes a reference that the head of the spider should have to take care of the rest of the legs as long as the head survives. Anyway, she can't leave. She's stuck. Her first act is she's going to make them all rest. No more doing things. No more missions every day. She wants them to rest, and she wants them to get smarter and educated. She also would like them to appear to the people at Akazusha Miya. She understands that they are celebrities to these people, but these people barely ever get to see them. So they want to make public greeting appearances to raise morale in Akazusha Miya that they're the good guys, because they freaking love them. The celebration comes to an end, and everyone goes to bed early in the morning, except for the Akanes, who go down to the basement to have a funeral. They all wear black attire, and the no numbers give a speech on how they really hope they're the real no number, real Akane, because one of them's dead. It's real scary. They also then have to decide what they're going to do with Divine Mindscape. And as they decide to give it to 5 holds it and immediately begins writhing in pain, and it looks like she's burning up physically. The Divine card is fighting off a Demon Brand. You should not be able to hold both. Inside her mind, inside the Divine Mindscape, she fights a form of Trafa. A Trafa created by the Divine card that remembers Trafa, and there's not a lot of puzzle to it. It's really just a physical fight, and she wins. And she beats Trafa, and now finished up, they celebrate not only the life of the no number, but also now that Akane 05 holds the Divine Mindscape. Also, in Akazusha Miya, people are abuzz in the coming days that everyone's excited for tours. Toshi and Riki are going to one place, Karna's going to another, Saki's and Korea going to another. They've split all the Demon Brand up so that they don't flood just certain big towns. Like smaller towns are going to get to be one. And Saraki and Cordelica are going to one called Inayoki. And Inayoki is where Anna and Red Alice live. So they're freaking out. Oh no, sorry. It's one town away. It's near where they live. So they freak out and they travel and they camp out to meet Saraki. And it's noted that Red Alice actually wants to meet Riki. But she's known Riki before, and they rock, paper, scissors for it, like so many do, and Anna won, so they get to go see Saraki. And they'll go see Riki next time. So sure there'll be another. They slowly get entered into this event, and they both joke about how funny it is that there's security at this event when they're so confident that Saraki and Cordelica could murder them all right now. So there's no reason for any guards. They see Saraki. Saraki looks super nervous. She's never done this public event. Her and Cordelica, you know, they're very private people, and they're really more about fighting and their brains, not about being public relations. She really is shocked to see the long line of people who want to meet her. She is unaware how popular she is inside the country. The country adores her. Who wouldn't? She's a little shark girl who has sharp teeth and blue hair and eats things and throws up weird objects. She's popular. She's popular. Cordelica didn't have to come. He's here to read a book and be emotional support. He's not part of the event. Sarky has a blue pen. It's noted she has a tiny shark pen. Keeping on the shark theme, because she has those pointy teeth. It's also noted in this chapter that her teeth are not anime shark teeth, but more like her teeth are all broken because she used to eat garbage. Her teeth are sharp because she eats garbage. All of her teeth are broken. It is noted that it probably causes her immense pain constantly. She introduces herself. She says, "Hello, I'm Anna. This is Red Alice. I'm a huge fan. I main you in Demon Brand Dark World, as well as Demon Brand's Next Destination, 2 fighting games that Anna loves to play. And she thinks she's super cool, and I just wanted you to know you're super cool." And Sarky and Cordelica both acknowledge they've never seen a red dog that looks like Alice. It's pointed out that it's kind of weird, and they don't understand why there's a red Alice existing. Why is there a red dog that's a girl and also not with Ricky? That's not normal. Anyway, Anna gets something signed by Sarky. It is a jersey. It is the jersey for a pro team. She is recruited by a pro team. And so her jersey is now signed. She's a Sarky main with Sarky's signature. It's kind of the ultimate bragging right. After that, the event. Anna, Red Alice, go home. Sarky, Cordelica, go out and eat pancakes after the meeting to congratulate Sarky for a good job. Small diner in the town, eats a lot of pancakes. Sarky draws a picture of them at the beach. It's cute. Cordelica calls to Toshi to open a void to bring them home late at night as he carries Sarky to bed. Cordelica thanks him. Toshi returns to bed and finds that Ricky is in his bed, and he just kind of sleeps like that. This is an example of Toshi taking advantage of Ricky. Ricky has feelings for Toshi again, and Toshi, being the adult and Ricky being the child, really should have kicked Ricky out of his bed. It is slowly and surely being clear this is not a father-son relationship. It is very much they're gay and in love. Yeah, so that's kind of weird. Not weird, that they're gay, sorry. Just weird that Toshi takes advantage of this boy because he's a little messed up from the war. And that is the end of the Fall of Heptera arc. Next time, join me to go through chapter 35 through 43. That is, that's a lot. I mean, it's 9 chapters, I believe. 9 chapters for the 3-year arc. We're getting there. Thank you for joining me. I'm really proud that the camera didn't die. I don't know how long I've been doing this. The camera battery really lasted this time. This is really cool. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Let's see where we go.